Welcome back to Eckert Planning, where I break down the mysteries of the financial landscape and help you make better financial decisions. Have you ever wondered what a stock actually is? When you hear people say, I bought a stock of a company, what do they actually mean when they say that? What have they actually bought? Many people just think of numbers going up and down on a screen that go up for no reason. I'm here today to show you and tell you that you're buying more than you know, and stocks represent something much more important than you'd ever think. In this video, I will cover what is a common share or a stock, what you're buying and the rights it gives you, what are dividends, and in the end, we'll go and look at a chart to show you how to use basic technical analysis. What is a stock? A portion of future earnings. When buying a share, you have purchased a portion of future earnings of that company. This can be in the form of declared dividends or capital appreciation, the price of your shares going up. Ownership stake in that company. As a shareholder, you have voting rights. This entitles you to an invitation to the shareholders meeting. At the shareholders meeting, this is where voting is done for new policies and procedures, and even elections for the board are made. Claim on liquidated assets. As a shareholder, you have a claim on the liquid assets of that company if it were to go bankrupt. First in line are the bondholders who issued debt to that company. Then paid out are the shareholders proportional to their ownership stake. There are other types of stock which do not refer to the inventories of that company. These types of stock are called preferred shares, and they come in various different forms. There's different types like straight, convertible, and retractable, and these all have different rights and permissions with them. We'll go more into these types of shares in a different video. Dividends, monthly or quarterly payments. These are payments for holding shares of the company. Dividends are up to the discretion of the board and are not required to be paid. The dividend can be suspended or changed at any time, and yes, if a company has a record of not suspending their dividend and increasing it year after year, they're put in an index and they are granted a special status. Now, this status doesn't mean anything except that they've kept up their end of the bargain for the last however many years. Alright, we'll now begin the second portion of this video where we learn what a chart is, what it's telling us, and how to read it. Before we begin, I'd just like to read a disclaimer. I'd like to note that this video is intended for educational purposes only. The information presented should not be considered financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. Every individual's financial situation is unique, and you should consult a qualified professional like myself before making these financial decisions. Now, at Eckert Planning, we do not offer any investment advice, but I offer as much educational information as I can about how to trade these stocks with minimal fees and how you can do it safely and with minimal risk. So let's get started. This is what is called technical analysis. Whenever you're using data or information that the stock has produced, that is referred to as technical analysis or technical data. Now, the technical analysis we'll be doing in this video is very simple. It's simply looking at supports and resistances. We're going to look at volume as well, which tells us how many shares were traded during that period. So first of all, I'll show that this is random data. This does not come from any stocks or any real investment products. This is completely random from a program in Python. I can provide this data. I can provide this program in the links below. So first of all, we'll learn what is an uptrend. An uptrend is when the overall price seems to close higher and higher. So we can see on this 6-month time frame, the lowest price there is 160, and as of our simulated June 18th, it is 260. So it has appreciated, or the price has gone up $100 within that 6-month period. That is a classic uptrend. Now, a downtrend would be the complete opposite, which you can see May 12th, our simulated date, it closed at around 120, and you can see June 18th, our simulated date, it is below $40, maybe even at 20. So that is a classic downtrend. This has been a simulated massive downtrend too. Now this is a cyclical market, or what some people refer to as trading sideways. Now there's no clear, this one, it does look like a U trend, but there is no clear trend of where this could be going. Here, a better example is this graph here, where it seems to close 6 months later in the exact same place it started, which is completely trading sideways. If you were to invest $1 May 12th, you would have that same $1 June 18th, which is not 6 months. So now I'll put it on, we'll get some full random data to just get an idea of what to do when we're looking for supports and resistances. A support is a technical term where it means the price seems not to drop below that level. It is supported by that price level. So we can see here on the random data that the support seems to be around $50. So we can put in a horizontal line at $50, which would indicate our support line. The resistance level is where the price seems to struggle to break through and where it seems to resist higher fluctuations. Over our time frame here, there could be a few different resistances. You could call a short resistance possibly about $57, where a lot of these tall candlesticks end. That's around $57, which would be a short resistance or resistance. We can see another big resistance point was at about 67 as well. What occurred at $67 for this random data is what is called a hard rejection. You can see here around May 25th or so in the simulated data, it started to have a massive short-term uptrend. When this happens, it's not guaranteed, but usually there will be a sharp and steep decline to proceed. However, you can see with this data that after the massive uptrend, it did close slightly higher than where it started the massive uptrend. So this is basic technical analysis. Most traders don't make trades off such basic technical tools as simple supports and resistance. We'll get into more detailed indicators later in other videos. Support is where the price seems to level off and not want to fall any further through. Resistance is where the price rises to a level, stays there, and gets knocked back down by resisting forces, either that being high selling pressure or valuations not making sense at that price point. Finally, we'll get some new data, fully random, and we'll talk about volume. So this is a classic uptrending pattern. This pattern starts around 110 and closes at 160 plus on our 6-month time frame here. Over this 6-month time frame, the simulated volume was 50,210. That means within this time frame, 50,000 shares have traded hands on this marketplace. Volume can be a quintessential tool in a technical analysis handbook when it is used effectively. If you can find points of where the volume seems to accumulate or change suddenly, you can make predictions using that information. So I'd just like to end with a warning about technical analysis and how it can go wrong. Technical analysis can be used to look for trends and where good ideas to enter a trade may be. However, it's based on 100% previous data. So as you can see, when we're making a support and resistance, it's on all of this time frame that the stock has been trading previously. We can't predict the future. So even using as much technical analysis as you can, it's statistically unlikely that you will predict the right movement based off of your previous information using this support and resistances. That being said, it's still a better way to make an informed trade rather than to just blindly enter the trade and be surprised if it then bounces off a resistance and then goes to the downside and you lose. So that's all I have for this video. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, do what you gotta do to get this video to the people you know to help them trade better. I've been trading since I turned 18 in 2018, so almost a decade now. I've made a bunch of mistakes and I've learned a lot of new strategies. I'd love to share them with everyone online and help them make better trades. Thanks.